I'm Sean Cousins, and welcome to the Founders Letter. I reach out to founders and ask them to write a letter to someone standing exactly where they once stood, facing the same doubts, fears, and pressures that they had to work through themselves. Sometimes the letter might be funny, might be raw, it might be inspiring, it might even be a wake-up call to quit everything that you're doing right now. The only non-negotiable, I ask him it has to be honest, not just a highlight reel. I read the letter out loud, then share my perspective on what they were likely navigating at that time. And more importantly, if you're in that same position right now, what your next move could be. This is the letter, the lesson, the next move. We get a behind the scenes look at what founders really go through, not their P&Ls, not their ad strategies, the stuff we wish we all had the answers to, but we rarely talk about. And what I personally think is the best part, it's in the form of storytelling, because every founder has a story to tell. You can watch every episode on YouTube, listen on any podcast platform, and if you want real-time updates, follow me on Instagram. All you have to do is search my name, Sean Cousins, that's S-I-O-N, Cousins. Let's get into it. My favorite people of all time are multidimensional. Bodybuilders who run, runners who write, writers who build startups. They don't let fake labels constrain what they do. I heard that on a reel the other day, and it instantly made me think of the guy who wrote today's letter. His name's James Winestock, and I'll give you some examples. James will wake up at 5 a.m. to watch a live rugby match, and he'll be screaming at the TV, but then in the afternoon, he'll be rolling dice in a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. He hits the gym, chasing size, trying to get as big as possible, usually just training his arms and shoulders. And then the very next day, he'll run his first ever half marathon. He goes to the shopping center, analyzes every nutritional panel in the entire grocery store, seeing what will give him the best bang for buck when it comes to calories. And then he'll smash a Snickers ice cream after dinner without any hesitation. When I run with him, he quotes Roman emperors, recites poetry, dissects training theories, questions social norms, and he'll even drop Lord of the Rings references before we even get to halfway. I never know which version of James I'm going to get, but maybe that's the point. All of it. The interests, the skill sets, the depth of knowledge, that is James. And to me, he's rare in the best possible way. And I know for a fact he would absolutely hate me giving him any form of a compliment or public praise, but he really is one of my favorite people. James is a podcast host, he's an author, and a founder. So let's hear what James' letter says. It's normal not to know what to do. It's normal not to have a 5-year plan. It's normal not to have the perfect tools or the perfect sales funnel. It's normal to pivot and decide that morning or tomorrow night what your strategy is going to be. Make it work with what you have now. When we started our business, we taped the whole thing together with spaghetti and glue. 8 years later, if you peeled back the shiny surface, it's still spaghetti and glue. We tell ourselves we're a great business plan, bulletproof product offer, or eye-catching sales page away from success. It's not true. Yes, improving your systems will help, but don't pretend you can run a business without inefficiencies, without making mistakes, without forgetting to turn off that reoccurring payment for the subscription that you don't use anymore, or sending an email with a broken link. It's gonna happen, and it's good, it's okay, you're gonna be fine. The most important part is finding a way to keep going when it's not perfect. When I look back on those first 8 years, the most interesting and fun things I built were things that had no roadmap, things that there were no YouTube tutorials for. If I ever looked at my wife and said, "How is this not neater? Why isn't there software that just does this?" we were usually onto something. You will learn so much by starting. You will learn so much by letting it be imperfect. If it's confusing, hard, or unclear to you, it's probably confusing, hard, and unclear for your competitors. The amount of time wasted on writing business plans, my God, do you know how much more effective most founders that wrote a business plan would have been if they just spent that time actually building their business? Go, make mess, start. If you feel like you're making it up as you go, good. If you don't have the skill set now, good. You're going to make it work in the doing of it. Reading James's letter, it can almost feel like it's a permission slip to stop chasing the perfect plan or the flawless system and to just get going. And that's where the first lesson comes in. Certainty is overrated. Momentum matters more. Founders love the idea of certainty. We want the comfort of knowing we're heading in the right direction. The reassurance that if we just map it out properly, the future will unfold the way we expect. It's why so many people cling to 5-year plans, intricate funnels, or detailed strategies before they've even sold to their first few customers. James points out none of that really matters. What actually matters is momentum. The willingness to move when things are messy or unpolished, unfinished. The willingness to launch when you're still working with spaghetti and glue. Certainty is an illusion. Even the best laid plans don't survive contact with the market. A global event, a shift in technology, a competitor you didn't see coming, all of those things can render the most pristine business plan useless overnight. But momentum, that's what allows you to adapt. Think about explorers before modern maps. They didn't have satellite data, weather models, or GPS. They just had partial maps. They had the stars, instincts, and lots of courage. And by leaving the harbor, they discovered new continents. The uncertainty was the point. And by leaving the harbor, they discovered new continents. The momentum created the path. In business, it's the same. Certainty feels safe, but it often keeps you hidden in planning. Momentum, it feels risky, but that is what creates opportunity. If this is where you're stuck right now, stop rewriting your plan. Stop waiting for everything to line up. Just pick one thing. Launch the offer, make the call, test the ad, whatever it is, just make sure you move. You don't need certainty yet. Certainty comes through motion. Lesson 2. Inefficiency isn't failure. It's just a sign of life. James's image of a business still held together with spaghetti and glue 8 years in is both funny and also revealing. Most founders hear that and think, well, shouldn't we have figured it out by now? But that's exactly the point. The fact that it's still messy doesn't mean the business is broken. It means the business is alive. There's a cultural obsession with efficiency and systemizing things, the polished dashboards, the color-coded workflows. But efficiency is not the same as progress. In fact, the more alive a business is, the more moving parts it has, the more experiments are running, the more mess you're going to find under the hood. Inefficiency is a byproduct of growth. Look at it in another way. When a teenager's bedroom is spotless, it usually means there's nothing really happening. But when it's messy, it means life is being lived. The same is true in business. The mess is your systems, the clunky processes, the forgotten subscriptions. These are not failures. They're just markers that something is moving. You have momentum. Some of the biggest companies in the world still run on messy legacy systems. Airlines juggle overlapping software patched together over years, yet they still make billions of dollars. If this is where you're stuck right now, look at the mess in your business and ask yourself, is this inefficiency happening because I'm actually building, experimenting, and serving customers? If yes, just let it be. Clean up the bits that rarely matter. But stop treating the mess as proof you're failing. It's often just proof that you're in motion. Lesson 3. Confusion erodes self-trust. Founders hate confusion. It makes us feel incompetent. We're used to being capable people. We like having the answers. So when we're confused, our brain immediately makes it mean something's wrong within the business or worse, within us. But confusion isn't failure. Confusion is more like the classroom. Think about when you first started to learn to drive. You didn't feel confident, you felt overwhelmed. Mirrors, pedals, gears, traffic, you've got all of that happening all at once. And confusion was a part of the process. In business, it's the same. Confusion doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're learning something new. If everything feels clear all the time, you're probably not growing. And this reminds me of one of my wife's favorite quotes. Don't pass up the opportunity of not knowing what you are doing. You only ever get that once. And I think that line nails it. The first time you fumble through a sales call, the first time you patch together a dodgy website, the first time you pitch an idea you're not 100% sure about, you'll never get those messy first reps again. That confusion is where the self-trust is built. When you confuse confusion with incompetence, you start eroding your own self-trust. You start to hesitate, second guess. You sit on the sidelines until you're ready. But James's letter, it reminds us that certainty is a myth. Mess is normal and confusion is not weakness. The real work of being a founder is moving anyway. So if you're sitting here right now waiting for clarity, stop. The clarity comes after. The trust comes after. The growth comes after. Start messy. Keep moving. That's the lesson. That's it for today's episode of The Founder's Letter. If James's words hit home, share it with someone who needs to hear it as well. You can find all the links to follow James and his work below in the show notes. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.